Fate's a funny thing, isn't it? One week you're expecting to suit up for the World Juniors as the captain of that Team USA squad. Eventually things get cancelled and it doesn't really go your way. Okay, you get sent back to your college team. And then just a little bit down the line, you're going to be going over to Beijing for the Olympic Games instead. Let's talk today about Ottawa Senators prospect Jake Sanderson and just give an update to his NCAA season so far, how he has gone from the World Juniors over to the Olympics, what exactly this means for the Ottawa Senators and the prospect they have, and pretty much why Sanderson may be the best NHL prospect out there today. So let's just go over the profile, go over why Senators fans are hyped up about this guy, and what's the big deal with Jake Sanderson. So, Sanderson, 19 years old, 6'2", 190, he's a left-handed defenseman straight out of Montana, and it's actually kind of funny because I don't know if there's any NHL player who has come from Montana before. It looks like Jake Sanderson, should things go the right way, will be the first one. But, of course, somebody can go out there, correct me in the comments if I'm incorrect about that. Jake Sanderson was drafted 5th overall in the 2020 NHL Entry Draft, which, as you kind of recognize, is a pretty beefy draft spot. Now, he wasn't actually the first Ottawa Senator taken in the 2020 draft. That honor belongs to Tim Stützle. The 3rd overall pick in that draft was given to the Sens by the San Jose Sharks in the Erik Karlsson trade. They took Tim Stützle with it. He is on the team. He's doing pretty well. Sanderson was the next pick on the board for Ottawa. And this pick at 5th overall was not really the most difficult one to understand, because even though he was ranked to go 11th by ISS, 12th by Future Considerations, 11th by Craig Button, 5th by McKean's, 8th by TSN and Bob McKenzie, and was ranked as the 4th best North American skater by NHL Central Scouting, there was this reputation building itself up in the 2020 draft that Sanderson was, in some people's minds, the best defenseman. Now, for the biggest chunk of time heading into 2020, we all thought that Jamie Drysdale would have that honors. He's a right-handed guy. He is a defenseman out of the Erie Otters who was eventually drafted by the Anaheim Ducks. And it wasn't really until the end of the draft year where Jake Sanderson kind of overtook Drysdale and the reputation that he had. Because Drysdale wasn't really performing up to expectations, sure, he was good, but a lot of people thought he could have been better in his draft season. Sanderson was kind of the opposite. He started off the year as a late first-round pick projection player, eventually working his way up to being a top 5 pick in some people's eyes. Where Jamie Drysdale had himself some really good edges and some questionable defensive play, you had yourselves Jake Sanderson, who just really showed off in his draft year that he did everything right. Almost every decision in his own zone was a good one. Almost every decision in the offensive zone was a good one. When he had the puck on his stick, he wouldn't shy away from headmanning it himself if he had the space. And when he made those decisions, he could absolutely just fly by and blitz by people, dangling it out if he needs to, sending a pass if he needs to. Again, just doing the right things. Eventually, he made his way over to the North Dakota Fighting Hawks after his draft year, and he had 15 points in 22 games played. Not bad at all for a rookie defenseman, one of the younger guys in the 2020 draft. But this season, this is where things really have started to explode for Sanderson, because taking a look at the production he has had with North Dakota in 2021-2022, the guy went from his last year point production of under a point per game to significantly over a point per game this year. 22 points in 17 games, 6 goals, 16 assists. He had 1 game played for the World Juniors as the USA captain. He didn't have any points in the 1 game he played because the World Juniors got cancelled. But before we go over as to what he's going to be doing now for the international scene, just take a look at the numbers for the NCAA and defenseman scoring. Jake Sanderson is 2nd in the league behind Owen Power, who has 1 more point, but in 3 more games. When it comes to points per game, Jake Sanderson is the most productive defenseman in the entire collegiate system. So, yeah, I mean, that's really impressive right there. He's went out there for Nodak and started doing everything that it was that made him successful and the NTDP level over there. And it's been a really good treat to watch for Ottawa Senators fans, because for the North Dakota Fighting Hawks, not only did you have yourselves Jake Sanderson on that blue line, but Jacob Bernard-Docker was over there. You had yourselves Tyler Clevin too. There were just so many Ottawa defenseman prospects suiting up for this blue line at Nodak that it's kind of funny how frequently all their paths were intersecting here. Sanderson was so good that you had yourselves Pierre Dorian coming out here and saying that there was an open invitation for Sanderson to leave North Dakota and join the Senators at any time. This was said like a few weeks ago in December. And this was met with a lot of people freaking out. Okay, no, let him finish out his college year, let him finish out his sophomore season, and eventually leave UND on his own terms. Don't force the guy into signing a contract like the Carolina Hurricanes did with that goaltender a few days ago. Ottawa can wait. Let Sanderson decide things on his own terms. If you go over to NHL Draft King and the projections he has for projected NHL equivalency scores, you can see that Jake Sanderson is the top NHL prospect in terms of these equivalency scores with a 98 rating. Now, I have to say this every time we talk about PNHLE, but this rating over here does not really mean, okay, if he was playing in the NHL, he projects as a 98-point defenseman. It just means that his score is 98. If you're anything above 50, you're projected as an NHL player. If you're anything above 60, I believe, you're projected as a middle six, middle pairing defenseman. And then if you're above, I think it's 80, you're projected as a first-line player. So you have Jack Quinn, Owen Power, Waugh, and Wyatt Johnston all as projected first-liners, if not elite players. And then Jake Sanderson is above and beyond. He is in the superstar level territory, which is very exciting to say the least, because with Shabbat on the team, with the other defensemen that are projected to being on this team sooner rather than later, having Sanderson as potentially the best one, it makes for probably one of the best projected defense cores in the entire NHL, assuming everybody who is on the projected D core hits their primes and everything. So, yeah, lots to be excited for here in Ottawa. Let's go over onto an article published on GrandForksHerald.com talking about Sanderson and him accepting the USA Olympic invite. It's from yesterday. It goes over pretty much the technical stuff, so like dates, how long he's going to be gone for, and everything. Let's just go over this article over here. The link will be in the description if you want to go ahead and read this. The UND sophomore defenseman has accepted the invite to USA Hockey's hockey team at the Beijing Olympic Games next month. Sanderson will play in all of UND's January games and then leave the team to join the US Olympic team in early February. USA's first game at the Olympics is February 10th against China. It also has pool play games scheduled for February 12th and February 13th. Qualification playoffs are scheduled for the 15th, the quarterfinals on the 16th, semifinals the 18th, and the medal games on the 19th and 20th. So, as early as a month from now, we're probably going to see Jake Sanderson play off in the Olympics against Team China. Now, I know a lot of people were going out there and saying, okay, Sanderson is probably going to dominate the World Juniors, see what he does against guys who are in his own age range and not really all that great compared to him. But this is going to be pretty interesting too, right? Seeing Sanderson go out there and play some games against the Chinese. Okay, now you kind of got me excited here. Sanderson will miss UND's home series against Colorado College on February 4th and 5th. The Fighting Hawks are scheduled to have a February 11th and 12th date off. Sanderson's availability for UND's series at Minnesota Duluth on the 18th and 19th will depend on the USA's success. So, worst case scenario, it appears that Sanderson will only miss up to 4 games during this Olympic break. So, assuming the Americans go out there and play all the games they're able to play, okay, the Chinese game, the Canada game, the Germany game, then you have the qualification game on the 15th, quarterfinals 16th, semifinals 18th, and then one more game for a medal. They're probably going to play 6-7 games, right? Which means that Sanderson missing out on the 4 North Dakota games that he's probably going to have scheduled if the Americans go that far, he's actually going to be playing more games should he go to the Olympics, which he is, compared to if he doesn't. Assuming, of course, the Americans actually go to the medal round and actually fight for a medal. So, honestly, that's pretty good. I like seeing the slowly extended work rate because we know the NCAA has a very specific system. They spend the entire week studying, going to classes, and they spend the weekends playing their hockey games. It makes for a pretty interesting and easy to follow schedule, but it is not the best if you want to go out there and say, okay, playing time is the most important because they spend a lot of time in the gym, they spend a lot of time in class. It's not really the same kind of every other day hockey schedule that we're used to seeing with the NHL, with the AHL, with the CHL, etc. So, having just a little bit more of an extended work rate with this Olympic team is going to be pretty great to see. It's almost like the break that the Fighting Hawks have on February 11th and 12th is just replaced with some other games, except these are some really, really important games. So talk to me in the comments. What do you think about Jake Sanderson heading over to the Olympics? What do you think about Sanderson and what he has done so far in 2021-2022? Taking a look at him being the top NCAA defender for points per game, above Owen Power. Crazy, isn't it? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.